It's Tuesday afternoon. I'm going to start prepping garden for spring. Pulled the tarp off of it, and there's a lot of dandelions that come up over the winter. Believe it or not, they came up. Actually, they all look pretty big. So I need to go through and pull all of them. I'm going to explain to you what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do it. So here we go. So like I say, I pulled the tarp off. It's back here in the corner now. But there's a lot of weeds coming up, and those weeds, 90% of those weeds are dandelions. There's a good many out through there. I don't know how many, but there's a good many. There is some kale that overwintered, believe it or not. The stuff that wasn't under the tarp overwintered. Stuff that was under the tarp, it actually may be coming back as well. Either way, it's coming out. I need to get it out of there. So I'm going to go through and clean all the weeds out, break the residue out. After I get all the weeds and the weed residue out of the garden, then I'm going to take my pitchfork. I got a broad fork, but I'd rather use a pitchfork. Then I'll take a fork and I will fork it. And then I will add compost and some minerals. And then I'll put some wood shavings in the walkways. Then I'll water it really good. Then I'll put the tarp back on top of it. And the reason I'm going to water it really good and then put the tarp back on is because if I water it really good and put the tarp on, it's going to be warm under here, and all the weed seeds that are left in this and in my compost will think that it is warm out, and because the ground will be warm with the tarp, and they'll germinate. And then with that tarp on, they won't be able to grow. So if they're, for the most part, it's starting to get nice, the weather is, so it's gonna burn off the weeds. And then when I come back in a few weeks, in about 2.5 to 3 weeks, probably about 3 weeks actually, and start planting some of my colder hardy crops, I will take a weed burner and I'll burn the weeds back before I put them in the ground. That will keep the weeds out. So big old rock. Can't get it out. Almost got it. Almost got all the weeds. They always break off. I got a lot of them out fully, but most of them you don't. So the next step will be give it a good rake. That's how you like to get them out of there. So it's been a couple days since I was out here doing this. Today is Saturday. I think it was Tuesday when I was out here last, or maybe Wednesday. I'm not sure. Been pretty busy though. We've been busy around the homestead, getting stuff taken care of. So, what I did off camera before I got you here with me is I went through, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but I put string down, laid out the beds, with string, and then the walkways. I got this walkway here ready, and that walkway there. These two beds are ready. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take compost that I just went over in the chicken yard and got. I got 4 buckets. I got 4 buckets of compost per bed. So that bed will get 4, that bed will get 4. They'll all get 4 in it, except for them top 2 beds. They're not as long, so they'll only get 3 buckets in them. But these other ones will get 5 in, or 4 in. And the bed with the tomatoes won't get any in it until we go to plant. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll put these in, level it out, and then we will put our amendments in. Then I'll fork it, and then I'll level it out with a rake. But at this point, it really doesn't matter how thick or thin you get it put on. And trust me, if these were new beds, they'd be on a lot thicker than what I'm going to put it on now. These beds are really mature, and I try not to overload the garden and compost. I could probably get away with less compost than what I'm planning on putting in. But I'm going to stick with 4. And the reason I'm only putting in 4, if these were the new beds, I'd probably put in triple that amount. But these beds I've put compost in every year for the last 5 or 6 years. And every other year, I put in a lot of compost. And this is the year that it doesn't take as much. Why do I do it that way? Honestly, I don't know. That's just the way it works out for me. This just works out this way. No reason really other than that I don't need a whole lot of compost this year. Plus I'm adding minerals that I don't always normally do. Normally through the growing season I add fish emulsion. This morning earlier, it was actually snowing out. Yesterday morning we had about 1 inch of snow on the ground. I got up to go to work. But it's only March, so what can you say? So what we're going to use is Redmond Soil Build. It's got all your minerals that you need, all the trace minerals that your plants need to thrive. I'm not going to put a lot on here. I know this says 2,000 square feet. I'm probably not going to spread it quite that thin, but it's 62% volcanic ash, 1% humic acid, and 37% polyholite. So now that I got minerals on all the beds, it's time just to take your pitchfork. I just got a cheap old pitchfork. It's nothing fancy. Actually, some of the tines are bent, but it still works good. I have quite a few of these actually, but this was closest of all of them. I do have a broad fork that a friend of mine made me. Better than any you can buy, but I would much rather do it by hand than with a broad fork. And I just stick it in the ground and pull it back. And this our property is right there. I can't even push it down in because of all the rocks. I don't know where they come from, but every year I pull many a rock out like that. Especially this garden here, it's clear full of rocks. It's definitely getting better than it used to be, though. So what I'll do is I'll go down through this whole side, just like this. And then on my way back, through, I'll come down on this side and I'll go like that. So as you can see, I got the two beds, the bottom two beds done. They're composted, they're mineralized. I forked them, and now it's time to rake them. And when I rake them, I usually just use a metal tined leaf rake. When I do it, I always use it upside down. I've never put the tines down to level this part of it out, because basically all I'm doing is smoothing it up. I don't want to move a bunch of material. If you put it this way, you're moving material. If you put it this way, all the pores that you just opened up the nutrients will fall down in them pores. So I always rake my garden beds at this point. If I'm making new beds, I don't. But if I'm making or dressing old beds, I do. You always put the rake smooth side down. So then you just go through and just rake it across. And sometimes there's places that you need to flip it over, but normally this right here works just fine and dandy. And I did get a lot of rocks out of these two beds. It's unreal. Every year. The garden across the road from here, our bigger garden, it's got very few rocks in it. I don't know what the difference is from where the icebergs melted or whatever back in the day, but there's definitely something different with the land, the way it lays. And just that easy, you got 50 foot of bed ready to go. That bed now is ready to plant in. You could put your seeds in it. You could do whatever. And I never tilled it, as you saw. I don't even own a tiller. So the only thing a tiller does after your beds are established, if you want to use one to establish your garden, that's totally fine. There's not a thing wrong with doing that. But after it's established, you don't need one, because you don't walk in your garden. You don't step in these beds. There's no compaction. The pitchfork solutions it up just slick as could be, as you've seen. Yeah, there's no need to till it. And a tiller, at this stage, all a tiller would do would be pull all the weed seeds from hundreds of years that has settled in the ground and pull them to the surface. And I can't speak for all gardeners, but for this gardener, I don't like to weed. If I'm not doing something in the garden that's going to be profitable, whether that's for food for me or food for the market. I think it's a total waste of time. I do as much as I can not to have to weed the garden every day. I mean, I don't mind weeding. I really don't. But I'll run the Serpo through the walkways every now and again, like once a week usually is it. And we do use ground cover. We're going to use more of it this year than we usually do, just for weeds. But a lot of our stuff, and to keep the dirt from splashing up, we're using to keep stuff clean. We're trying to do more production this year than we've done, and to do that we need to make sure everything's as efficient as we possibly can make it. So now these two walkways, so now this walkway and this walkway is ready for wood shavings, and I have those in bags up there. And normally I use either wood chips, leaves, whatever. But today for the first time, we're going to use wood shavings. I found a guy that has a firewood mill, and I've been getting wood shavings off of him for a while. I should have enough for this garden. I don't have enough for everything. But he just texted me a little bit ago. He's got 2 more bags, so I'll probably run down there tomorrow or sometime and pick them up. So I know me well enough to know that if I don't scoop this out and try to dump it in, I'll make a mess. So I went in the greenhouse and got our potting soil scoop. And I'll probably still make a mess, but not as bad a one. I really don't have a clue how much of this it's going to take. But I think this is going to do better than just regular wood chips. Wood chips work better than leaves. I think these will work better than that yet, because it's way finer. I think it's going to pack in a little bit better and help suppress more weeds. I think it's going to hold more moisture. I think it's going to decompose a little bit quicker. I think it's going to be a better place for fungal life to live. Just because of all the surface area. You get a scoop this size of this versus a scoop that size of wood chips, and your surface area is astronomically more in this than it is in the wood chips. So that means a lot. It's going to rot up quicker. It's going to have all that other extra life in it. And rotting up quicker doesn't really matter a whole lot. But you know, it's gonna help hold moisture and everything else too. So just keep building soil. It's starting to rain pretty good. I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna hurry up and get it done so I don't get drenched. Take these buckets, just sprinkle right down in there. Growing soil. That's what that's all about right there. Growing the soil. Alrighty, so I have those 2 beds done, 2 walkways done. I'm going to show you that. So that right there, my friends, is how I prep my garden. I prefer to do this in the fall. In fact, last fall I started to make a playlist on getting your garden ready for winter. This would have been done last fall, but the weather got ahead of me, and I had so much going on I didn't get a chance to. So now I'm trying to get it done in the spring, along with everything else we got going on. But regardless, I'll have this wrapped up. I hope to have this wrapped up tomorrow. I'm not gonna show you no more. I mean, you've seen it. You know what I got going on here. Bed done, walkway. I got bed down there and 4 up here to do yet. So I'm 25% done. 30% done. When I'm done, when I have it all done, I will bring you guys back and show you the last step in doing this the way I do it. So that's going to wrap this video up. So until we meet again, take care and God bless. And to rake them, I usually use just a leaf rake, a metal tined leaf rake, blah. And to rake them, I usually use a metal tined leaf. Wow, that's pretty bad, ain't it?